Very good. Well, welcome everybody, and I hope your Sunday's going great. Yesterday was a big day. Everything went very well, and I hope you got a lot out of yesterday and even more today. Looking at First Tech Challenge, and really this whole class, this whole idea of safety at First Tech Challenge is not a broad safety thing across First Tech Challenge globally or even nationally as a program. So last year we developed a First Tech Challenge safety manual for Georgia, and that's what we're basing our discussion off today. We used this manual at our state championship in February, and it went off quite well. We had a lot of people who were interested in it, and it worked well. And so I'm going to go over the contents of what the safety manual entails as soon as I get my mouse to work again. There we go. I've got, as you can see, I've got a lot of screens on the side here. It's like Command Central almost. Okay. Readjusting my notes. That way I can read everything because, things come with age, right? Okay. All right, so welcome to the safety manual for First Tech Challenge in Georgia. So when we do safety for first, it's always first, and that's not meant to be a joke or anything like that, but we want to make sure everybody follows safe practices and has fun without getting injured or sick or things like that. We instill safety in our culture. First, it has a culture as part of its life, and we let the teams take the lead in how this is handled. Here we have the belief that when the teams take the lead, they develop the safety programs and policies that'll have a positive and lasting impact for everybody. And in addition to the communities and present future workplaces. So a lot of the safety will carry over to the people around them and into the places that they'll work in the future as alumni. And that teams will demonstrate safety through their programs. They are truly committed to developing safety as a culture. So the manual that we've created is a compact guide for safety information, and it'll provide everyone with a set of requirements to stay safe while we are participating in events and even participating in our own labs. The guide applies to everyone who's involved with Georgia First Tech Challenge, and that includes student team members, mentors, volunteers, and spectators. So what are the responsibilities of our participants? Well, all participants must be involved. They must be familiar with whatever practices are in place. That would be the practices in a safety manual, for instance, or whatever practices might be in place for their school. They must work safely. Use PPE or protective equipment, especially where it's needed and required. And encourage others to participate with safe practices, everyone who's around you. Also identify and report things that are unsafe to the right people, like the student safety captain, a mentor, a safety advisor, or even if that's not enough, take it up the chain. And this includes anything that may actually cause an accident, such as what you're seeing here in the picture. Student safety captain role is a role that was created for this manual. And that role consists of conducting safety inspections of the work site where robots are being put together, and also the pit station during competition events. The pit station, the competition, is an extension of the student lab, as well as a place that the teams will advertise to others, but there's still work going on in that pit. They also would manage the safety and tool training of members. And there's also a safety plan involved. Nowhere to go in case of emergency. Where will you meet if there's a fire drill or other situation, natural disaster? And also the safety captain role, they'll attend all safety meetings at events that are scheduled to represent their team. Mentors and safety advisors will also be involved by leading by example for the students and providing guidance and encouragement to follow proper safety precautions. And that includes matters of general safety, the coaching the safety captain on what those would be, guiding them as they create policies, and including the use of PPE. They'll help the safety captain fulfill the position's responsibilities. So what are some of the general safety requirements? What are we looking for as an organization for First Tech Challenge in Georgia? Well, the coach and mentor expectations, captain and mentor expectations are to fulfill the role that's in place. Make sure that teams are following the protocols that are put in place by the safety captain and the coaches, such as no running in horseplay or following PPE guidelines for safety glasses, shoes, gloves, masks, hearing protection, etc. Maintaining healthy attitudes. Make sure that everyone is handling powered movement, whether it be motors or power tools or the robot itself, anything automated or stored energy, that is being handled properly. And that we're using tools safely. And when we're working on the robot, we de-energize it while working. That includes battery power or stored energy in rubber bands, things like that. The different categories of safety areas to focus on would be stored energy. Like we were talking about, a surgical tube would be a great place to store energy, or rubber bands, or a spring, for instance. Know when those are engaged, figure out ways to show that they're engaged so that team members know when something is not safe if it gets sprung. Handheld tools. What's the right way to handle a handheld tool? Some of them are pretty obvious. A paintbrush, handle the handle end, not the paintbrush end. Most of them would be like that, but what's the right way to handle a screwdriver? Do you use it as a sword? No, you don't want to use it as a sword. Make sure those messages are out there. Power and bench tools. Having proper training with a wide variety of tools out there. Having certifications for students, for instance. Are you certified to use the drill press? Are you certified to use the planer? And then also respect for electricity, knowing that high current can cause severe damage or even death. Other safety categories: batteries. What can happen to a battery if it's mishandled? Would it explode? Would it leak? Chemical safety. If there's any chemicals involved in your area, what are the different what do you need to know about that chemical? Do you need to find MSDS sheets for a particular chemical in the area? Do you need to wear special protective equipment to handle that chemical? And also soldering. Soldering gives off gases when you solder. There's lead involved in some of the solder. There's lead-free solder you can use. It all depends on what your situation is there. What are the safeties behind soldering, not only to prevent burns, but inhalation of things that you don't want to breathe? So let's move on to personal protective equipment, PPE for short. So we want to protect ourselves from harm in whatever way we can. And we do that through the use of personal protective equipment. For eyes and face protection, we would use safety glasses, preferably a single pair. One will do enough. And safety glasses and face shields can be used together as long as they protect things from flying into the face or even flying in and ricocheting around. For your hands, at certain times you'd want to wear certain gloves. If you have sharp edges on things and you're working to file it down, do you wear gloves that'll protect you from cutting yourself while you're transitioning that piece of metal into something that doesn't require the gloves anymore? For hearing, using power tools, there's definite loss of hearing, and it's not painful and you don't know about it until it's too late. Wear hearing protection when you're working with loud equipment. For your feet, if you have heavy objects you're going to carry, maybe you want steel toes. You know, open-toed shoes is not allowed at events. Really shouldn't be allowed in labs and whatnot because something hot could drop on your foot, solder splashes, hot tool, screwdrivers could fall and hurt your feet. So you want to have them fully covered. And then what other preventative measures can you take when working with equipment? Make sure you're not wearing ties, loose clothing, jewelry, anything hanging that could get wrapped up in a motor and pull you in. That's something you want to avoid. If you have long hair, make sure you mitigate that by tying it back or covering it up so that it doesn't get around and dangle below the shoulder and pull the student in. That would not be a very good thing to have happen. Also, when we're looking at eyes, eye protection, we require that we have ANSI Z87.1 protection for the safety glasses. Glasses that don't have that protection level will not protect your eyes if they get hit by an object. They would shatter and possibly even cause more damage if they are not at that level of protection or certified for Z87.1 ANSI. So this gets into the question now, and this is not in the manual because we wrote it before COVID came around. We get into the question of face masks in general and what is it we need from them. Face masks for protection of COVID-19 really works best in that it protects the person who's wearing them. It protects others from the person who's wearing the mask because of the exhalation. The particles that are in a person get caught by the mask a lot easier than the small particles that come in because of what's in the air around you. So the face masks really are a preventative measure for others than it is for yourself. And that leads to the discussion about the vented valved face masks. They really don't work to prevent COVID-19 spread because the exhalation comes out of those masks with the vents quite easily and doesn't stop anything from getting out into the air in that respect. So when we do our events, vented masks are not allowed at our events. Also, face shields versus safety glasses. This actually came up as a question yesterday. What do we do about face shields? Can we have face shields instead of safety glasses? It all depends on the face shield. If the face shield meets the ANSI requirement, then the face shield can be worn that way if it has enough coverage on the side. The face shield does not necessarily replace the face mask. The face mask is good for protecting others against exhalation. The face shields are good for anything flying towards you. But anything that goes out and around it, it still gets out in the air. So the face shield is not good for inhalation. All right. So safe lifting and transporting of things. So how do we handle heavy or bulky objects? One of the first things we have is we would have a cart, something we could put something on to take our robot around the venue that we're in. So we're not always carrying it in our arms. Now, our robots don't have a weight limit this season. 42 pounds was the weight limit previous 2 seasons, but they took that out. So your robot has a chance of getting heavier if you really want it to. Best thing is to not carry it all the time, put it on a cart. Pre-lift procedures. When you're picking something up, what do you need to do to pre-lift properly? Make sure you're wearing the right PPE, such as safety glasses and closed-toed shoes. Make sure the robot is safe to move. Are all the parts secured? Is it powered off? Is it de-energized in all cases? Is anyone still working on a robot? Don't pick it up while they're working on it. And are any game pieces left in the robot? Ensure the areas and paths are clear of debris and hazards when you go to lift something up. Now, when you're lifting, you're going to want to make sure you lift with your legs. Keep your back straight. Don't twist your body. Use your feet to turn an entire frame if you need to turn. And use a proper handhold to grasp a robot. So when you're designing your robot, make sure you also design in a place where you can grasp the robot safely to get it to where you need to go. Bend the knees, a good comfortable degree. Tighten your stomach muscles, commence lifting the robot, use your leg muscles, and keep the robot close to your body and make sure the cart is stable and will not roll, which means you might need somebody to spot the cart while you're getting the robot up there. The robot's, if the robot is above 40 pounds, 50 pounds, consider a two-man lift for that robot. And also when you're transporting the robot, make sure the robot is stable on the cart before you move it, that it's not top heavy, that the cart will stay upright while you're pushing it around. Always keep the cart under control especially when you're removing or placing the robot, and ensure the cart will not roll away or pose a hazard. So it could have wheel locks or something similar when dealing with keeping it stationary. At the state championship in February, we had to deal with an elevator between the two floors, and we'll be in the same venue this year. So it was required that all teams had a cart for transport. And there's different kinds of carts. You can use a luggage cart where you would put it on. It's similar to a hand dolly, and you could put bungee cords around the front of it, just as a bigger platform on the bottom. You could have a cart like for an AV cart, or any types of ideas that you want to come together. Particularly creative was the team, FRC team 4451. They had a cart you can see pictured here. So when we're talking about safety at an event, well, what is it we're looking for here? Well, general expectations at an event is that we follow all the safety rules that are in place there. We have the ANSI Z87.1 safety glasses in place. So anything that's certified for ANSI Z87.1 has to have the side shields that protect things from flying into the eyes. Always carry those glasses with you when you are I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. Always carry the glasses with you at all times. If you leave your safety glasses in the pit and you leave for the night, you will not be allowed to go back in your pit without safety glasses. Take them with you. It is a bit of a hassle to have others with safety glasses go to your pit, grab safety glasses, and bring them back to you so that you can go into the pits. Items that are prohibited. Skateboards, hoverboards. You can't have a drone at an event. You may have seen videos of drones flying around events. Typically that's done when there's nobody in the room, but at an event like this, it's not something that we can control. Drones are not allowed to fly around events, especially when there's people walking around. Don't bring in bottled gas tanks, such as helium tanks. Don't throw objects or paper airplanes from the stands and bleachers. That was a kind of a disappointment a few years ago when we had all kinds of paper airplanes flying around at World Championships, but they did find that that was dangerous to a point, and we had to stop throwing paper airplanes. Use the buddy system when you're at an event or traveling. That way people keep track of each other. You're in a place that you don't know, so make sure the team members all have a buddy system going on. Always exhibit safe behaviors when you're at an event. Exhibit what safety is, and know that teams are being watched for safety. So when you're at an event, you need to know what volunteers are screened or are considered, we've checked them out. They're okay to be around. Identify those volunteers. They'll have name badges or lanyards on them appropriately. They've been screened, or they are with somebody who's been screened. Somebody who has not been screened, that say is a walk-in volunteer, has to stay with somebody who's screened at all times. And also Never put yourself in a situation where you are alone with a volunteer, or even another coach or another mentor. Don't put yourself in that situation. Most everybody can be trusted. It's that one or two bad apples out there that we don't might not know about that may be at the event. You don't want to put yourself in that risk. So don't put yourself alone. Make sure there's other eyes around the area that you're in. When you're in your pit station and setting up, make sure that you design a setup for your pit station that's safe and can use tools properly as you construct components and shelves and like displays or banners, and incorporate those in your pit. For pit station safety, you want to have access to your pit station controlled. Keep it neat and orderly. Don't create trip hazards. Don't create places that can be get tangled up with extension cords, especially around your feet. Keep the aisle immediately outside your pit station clear so that people can walk through, and it's not a pipeline or congestion area, especially with social distancing. That would if we have pits in social distancing situations, I don't know what that's going to look like yet, even if we have the pits. We may even forego pits as far as COVID goes, but if we don't, we want to keep the areas clear. If you have team structures, signs, banners, or displays, they cannot be higher than 10 feet above the floor. 10 feet's the maximum height. Be aware of your neighbors. Let them know if there's a hazard in the pit or near theirs. And always keep a clean, neat, and orderly pit station. One of the things that we're doing with the safety thing is we're looking for teams that excel at safety. And so there will be inspections throughout the course of the event. So you'll want to have the floor clean, proper tool storage, proper care of batteries and chargers, and tidy storage of personal belongings and equipment. So when transporting a robot, also politely keep pedestrians alert to your movement. They don't know you're coming necessarily. Despite what kids think, parents don't actually have eyes in the back of their head. We just have really good hearing. So being vocal about that, your movement, will help them realize you're coming and can work on getting out of the way. Do not use chemicals, paints, or aerosols at events. That stuff would have to go outside. We're not doing that in the pits. Large power tools, drill presses, lathes, bandsaws are prohibited in First Tech Challenge pits. And large power draws over 5 amp are prohibited. We don't provide much power in an FTC pit. FRC pits, we provide 20 amps. FTC pits, we provide up to 5 amps. Also, there is an age requirement in the pit area at an event. Children who are 12 and under must always have a 13 and older with them. We'll have child safety glasses available to borrow and return. In COVID situations, I think we're asking people to bring their own safety glasses right now. So we don't have to worry about the borrowing or the sanitation of glasses at an event itself. So I would plan for this season to bring your own safety glasses for your kids in all cases, if they're allowed in the area. A lot of rules are still being determined on that. Who's going to be available, who's going to be allowed in the pit area for traditional events, given the current situation. Around the practice field and competition fields, when you are using the practice fields, be sure to obey the rules for maintaining an exclusion zone around the area. The zone will help ensure that robots and moving parts remain within the practice area, and it help prevent accidents to those persons viewing the sessions or traveling nearby who may not be aware of the movement of the robots. You want to make sure that people aren't in a zone where something's going to swing, or even in the case of this season, foam rings being launched. Make sure that you aren't aiming at somebody when you're launching anything. That's what the nets are for. The idea is that robots for this game are going to be shooting the rings towards the back of the field, not towards the audience. Listen to the volunteers that are around you. They're there to point out things that you may not realize are happening, or they are going to tell you to do certain things that you might not agree with, but are in the name of safety. Usually it's about not knowing what you don't know and helping bring that to light to you. So listen to the volunteers as they tell you things to do or to watch out for. Stop running uh, in the walkways. It's not the game will not go on without you. So running is not necessary. And also ask for help. If you have a situation where you need a second lifter and you don't have a second lifter, ask for help. There's volunteers around that'll help you lift a robot up onto a cart that you need, especially if it's too heavy. Even other team members out there from other teams will help. Don't risk yourself. Ask for help. Safety violations. There are a lot of things out there that it seems very obvious it's unsafe if you do them. Raise awareness of any safety violations that are out there. Now, what does this mean? It means that if someone's walking around in a place that requires safety glasses and they don't have them on, chances are they forgot to put them on because we're thinking about other things. So let them know, hey, safety glasses are required in this area. Go ahead and put those on. If the repeated issues with safety glasses, courteous reminders will go only so far, but you do want to be courteous when you remind them the first one or two times. If it continues on, it's best not to get in an argument, but start involving the coaches and the mentors to help address the issue. And if it continues to go further than that, you can get the volunteers to help, including getting the event coordinator involved if there's a lot of egregious behavior. Just report that egregious behavior to event coordinators or even to myself, the affiliate partner for a particular event. There are rules and there are yellow cards and things that could happen, including disqualification from an event if there are teams or individuals involved with teams that are doing things that are unsafe and refuse to change that behavior. So what is all this going to lead to? Well, we believe that the environment will be a lot safer for everyone and we'll have a great time. No one's getting injured. We do have a nurse on site for events in case there's issues such as a cut finger or in the cases of past events, we've had twisted ankles on curbs, getting people to where they need to go, understanding when to call for an ambulance or anything like that, and the proper procedures to help somebody who may have fallen and knocked their head, for instance. If you do see something like that and somebody gets injured, go ahead and find the pit admin. That's where the nurse or the ME, I'm thinking mechanical engineers now, the EMT would be located that can come help out. And also know that there's a lot of other people around, including in teams, that do have training in first aid or even CPR that would bring themselves out and say, hey, I can help, do this, do that, and listen to what they say. So what are we doing here? For all of this, safety awards and recognition, we are watching to see for teams that are going above and beyond with their safety. The key objectives here are we're having injury-free competitions, that we motivate safe practices around the event, that teams are encouraging that everyone participates and enjoys the event safely, and that we're promoting the life skills. As I mentioned when we started, that is one of our goals, promoting the skills that it carries forward into the workplace. And also on top of that, we're giving public recognition for those who go above and beyond. So what is it we're looking for? Well, the Safety and Awards recognition is called the Georgia First Tech Challenge Safety Award. It celebrates a team that progresses beyond safety fundamentals by using innovative ways to eliminate or protect against hazards and spread the principles and culture of safety throughout and beyond their team to enhance the understanding and recognition of safety principles to the larger community. The winning team consistently demonstrates excellence within their safety program that shines throughout the season, as well as at competitions from load in to load out. And with that, that's everything that I have in my presentation. Let's open this up to questions. If you have a question, go ahead and put it in the Q&A. We'll try to answer those as best we can. We may even turn on the microphones and let you talk to us directly if you'd like. Let's hear what you've got.
Just a note, we will probably have the Q&A open until for the next couple minutes. If we don't get any bites soon, then we'll wrap up the session early, and you guys can go ahead and take an extra little break before your next session.
In case you haven't heard, my dogs are telling me that somebody's here. Ah, yes. Those fields in my front yard are being picked up.
Well, just a reminder, this session, the recording will be uploaded. And if you have any more questions for Mr. Harvey after we close out the Q&A in a couple minutes, then Mr. Harvey, do you have a way to contact you, perhaps?
Yes, I can always be reached at shovey@gafirst.org.
So here, I just sent that out into the chat in case you guys want to make a note of that contact information. If you have any questions, he also is the FTC affiliate partner, so he can answer any safety questions and a whole host of other questions if you have them.
Yeah, anything about First Tech Challenge. If you have a question about something other than safety, I can take those as well. All right, so we will be making the safety manual available through a link in an upcoming newsletter. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure that you can receive the newsletters from First Tech Challenge and watch for that listing in the newsletter. It'll have all these details written out and help you as you select your safety captains and implement your safety program in your teams. I think with that, we do have one question. Are there any safety training type videos we could show to rookie tech teams? Eli, are you familiar with any safety videos that you would recommend?
Well, I will say, from my experience at least, on teams I've been on, we haven't, I don't know of any Georgia First or First general safety training videos, but I have seen plenty that are meant for workshops. So based on kind of the tools that your team uses, if you have power tools, there are plenty out there for power tool safety. I think in terms of First, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the safety manual will be a great resource. But for if you want to show off videos, just looking up anything involving, machine safety in general, based on whatever you guys use.
All right, and to add to that, this safety manual is built off of the first robotics competition safety manual, which is a national global thing. It does take out parts that aren't pertinent to First Tech Challenge and adjusts others that are pertinent but are slightly different. If you do watch any FRC safety videos, those would apply for the most part as well.
Well, I don't want to cut things off early, but I don't see any more questions. Are you all good to wrap things up, Mr. Harvey?
I am good. I want to thank everybody for coming into the session today, and we will see you out there either remotely or in person at the upcoming First Tech Challenge events. Have a great Sunday.
Oh, wait.
Oh, we
It
got
looks
one.
like we have another question real quick, and then we can close it out. We can reclose it, but I'll let you take that one.
Sure. If we implement safety training like equipment training for our team, how do we showcase that? Probably the same way you would showcase anything that you do on your team, such as your community outreach or that you have a plan in place, that you've written it down, you've written guidelines for your team. You could present that at an event to a judge. There will be specific judges set up for evaluating your safety. Just like for the FRC events, we have UL judges going around. Here we'll have different judges going around to evaluate the safety aspect of a team. As far as certificates go, Deidre, can we unmute you and have a conversation about that? I want to see where you're coming from.
Here, let me open up and see if I can get that going. All right, I just unmuted you. You should be able to talk now.
Okay. We have a couple of programs at our middle school where our kids actually go into like the workshops and are sort of like certified on different power tools and equipment and things like that. So that's kind of like the safety training that they take. And I just was wondering, how do we showcase that? Yes, they've been through training for, they've gotten all the background and all the knowledge they need to be able to operate all of their equipment.
Yeah, definitely part of the full engineering notebook. Now, I know there's a portfolio involved that the judges will be using this season, but you can still keep a full notebook on what your team does and keep it at your pit area when judges would come around. Or if you are talking to safety judges, show that part of the book to them and say, here's what we've done for our safety, or your safety captain would actually do that and say, here's the certificates that we have for our students. Here's a record of what each student has followed. Maybe you have a checklist in place that says it has the team member's name at the top and all the certificates they've achieved in a checklist, things like that.
Okay, so the engineering notebook should have a place for safety, like a specific tab for safety.
Yeah, I'd recommend that, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now it looks like we don't have any more questions. Are you all glowed up to wrap up again?
Let's try again. Yep, sounds good.
All right. Well, I'll repeat, sound a little bit like a broken record, but as Mr. Hovey said, thank you all for attending. This recording will be posted within the next week or two, so keep on the lookout for that. Also, as Mr. Hovey said, the safety manual will be posted as well. So be sure to check that out whenever you're going. You're making sure that safety is your first priority this year. So thank you all. Have a great day and get ready for your next sessions.
All right. We'll see you later.